everybody, I'm Lia Bartha, creator of Be The Method, which is a low impact workout that incorporates the entire body. It uses your body weight with the support of a small stability ball to create this inner strength and mobility in your spine and your hips, to create a very nice fluid state through your body, keeping everything very low impact and controlled, but also being able to create kind of an elevated heart rate, a meditative mind state. So we're connecting the mind with the body together to create this really juicy movement to strengthen your body. So we don't always use the ball. We're going to be starting without it. And if you don't have a ball, you can use a firm pillow. You can also go without to begin, and you can slowly start to integrate a ball into your practice. We're going to start without it, so we're going to take it off to the side, but keep it somewhere handy where when we grab onto it, it'll be kind of close by, so we don't have to get out of the flow. So we're going to start with a wide stance here. We're going to start by just taking a couple deep breaths. So we're going to take your hands onto your pelvis here, framing your pelvis. You can close your eyes, you can keep your eyes open, but we're going to take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. One more deep inhale and exhale. And we're going to start to stretch your arms out behind you. I want you to reach your hands forward as we bend the knees, pull your weight back, and bend the elbows in here. So we're stretching through the arms and then pulling it in here. So we're bending the knees, we're rounding through the spine, trying to create some nice fluidity in the spine here, reaching out through the arms. You're placing your weight on your heels. So our weight is not too far on your toes. We're creating some nice movement, also building up some heat right from the beginning in your body. And then we're going to start to stretch it out. We're going to reach down to the floor. I want you to press through the back arm, press through the front arm. We're playing around with some weight shifting here on one leg, feeling how your core rotates your spine, stretching it through. Still checking in with your breath, making sure you're inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. And then we're going to start to reach your hands parallel to the floor. So we're pressing it through, shifting your weight side to side. You're going to feel how you're pressing through the front arm and the back arm. Stretch it out. And then we're going to reach it up on a high diagonal. So we're going to stretch it through on a high diagonal. I'm kind of pushing through my arms, rotating the spine, creating some nice movement in the body, trying to keep the hips squared off towards the front of your body. Rotate here. We're going to do one more on each side, and then we're going to find our way back to center. We're going to take your arms back, round it forward, press the arms back. So back out into this stability position here that we began with, and out. Stretch it out. Weight is still on your heels. Let's do two more. And one more. And then we're going to open up your hips here. So externally rotating. We're going to stretch one arm out. We're going to reach here. So we're going to find this reach. So one arm is reaching down to the floor while the other arm reaches out on a high diagonal, keeping your weight in the center of your body, trying to stretch it out, creating some elevated heart rate here. So a little bit of that cardio feeling of a very low impact workout here with the connection of your breath to make it really nice mentally and physically here. Let's do one more each side. We're going to come back to center here. I want you to stretch your arms up. We're going to bend the elbows down here, pushing through your heels, lifting up. So we're finding the lift up through your obliques, up through your pelvic floor. We're finding this really nice lift up here, connecting the full body. Reminding yourself that every exercise here is full body, so we always want to treat it as, very intensely connected. And checking in with every body part. Two more. And one more here. And then we're going to reach our hands out in front of you. I want you to take one arm out to the side. We're going to press it through the center. Now we're keeping your weight stabilized in the center of your body here. We're trying to open up your arms so that it doesn't open up your chest, but it opens up your shoulder. And you're gonna feel those inner thighs, you're gonna feel the glutes, try to connect into the core as well. Open, and open here. And let's do one more on each side after this. So we're gonna go over to the right, over to the left, and we're gonna hold here. We're gonna take your legs back into parallel. We're gonna press it out, shift side to side again. Putting the weight in your heels, and out. Stretching the front arm out, stretching the back arm out, creating this nice fluid motion, starting to take your arms into parallel to the floor, so we're stretching out to the side. So really treating this movement as a nice fluid way to move your body. It's going to prep us for what's next in this 30-minute session. We have a lot to do. And then we're going to take your hands up on a high diagonal, stretch it out, and out, and out. Almost done here, one more on each side. And then we're going to take your hands back to center here. Let's lift the arms up, circle them around. My knees are still slightly bent. Let's do two more, and one more. And then we're going to grab onto your ball. So let's take the ball in your knees, just slightly above your knees into your thighs. And we're going to drop your feet in line with your hips. Soften the knees very slightly, and we're going to shift your hips backwards. Your abdominals are in, keeping a neutral spine. So a little bit of a flat spine here. Stretching your arms out in front of you. Let's go forward and back. So now we're going to feel the squeeze of the ball, but I want you to think of less of the knees squeezing and more of the inner thighs and pelvic floor. So we're going to connect a little bit deeper inside of your body. Treat every movement a little bit internally, so we're turning off the quads if we can by shifting your weight onto your heels. You can see how my toes are slightly lifted. Two more. And one more. Taking your hands back through here, we're going to start to do very tiny circles. And as we circle the arms, I want you to lengthen out of your neck. You can relax the jaw. Feel the core connecting into your arms. Feeling your shoulders pull away from your ears. Checking in to make sure that your feet are flat. And then stretch it forward and back. And forward and back. So very intentionally moving your arms. My method is very, based off of dancing and swimming from my past. So I want you to feel like you're in a body of water here and creating the resistance as you press it back. Taking your hands back, let's do the circles in the opposite direction. Tiny circles, still controlled here. Still checking in to make sure that that ball is squeezed between your inner thighs and pelvic floor. Keep circling here, your arms should be feeling nice and warm, core feels nice and warm. And let's do two more, and one more. Stretching your arms out, we're going to turn your palms facing up. So we're making this kind of scooping position here. We're going to take your hands back behind you. I want you to lift up through here. So we're bending here, hinging forward as we lift, using your arms as a way to connect to your obliques. We're lifting up, scooping up to the ceiling. And your knees aren't going to straighten, they're just going to straighten a little bit more than that bend that they were in the beginning. And let's do two more. And one more. And then we're going to come back out to this position. Shift your weight on your heels again. We're going to reach your hands out, bend the arms, round through the core, pull your arms in, rounding here. So I'm leading the movement with my core, feeling my abdominals pulling in as I stretch through those arms. Let's do three more here. And two more. Make sure you're breathing. I'm sure you can hear my breath here. And one more. And then we're going to reach our hands up. Let's do a nice big circle. And we're going to slowly make our way down onto our forearms. So the knees are underneath your hips, your feet are flat, and your hands are down flat here. Shoulders are back. I want you to shift your weight slightly forward here, so you're a little bit more over onto your arms. Give the ball a little squeeze. We're going to start to push up with your arms, and then drop the elbows down. So we're pushing it up here and drop. And now that we're familiar with the position here, I want you to check in with form. We're going to try not to hyperextend the elbows first. We're going to find a neutral pelvis by lengthening out of the spine. Pull your shoulders back away from your ears. We're trying to connect the back and the abdominals with the arms here and try to turn off the neck all the way up. And let's do 3 more here. And 2 more. 1 more. We're going to press your arms up. We're going to round through the spine. Let's go into a cat stretch. And then we're going to go into a flat back. Start to drop your elbows down. So we're going to try not to arch the spine. We're going to cat stretch. Drop it down here. Round it up. So feel how your core rounds up the abdominals here. You're going to try not to allow your hips to shift any further back towards your feet. So we still want a very slight forward weight-bearing movement here. And 1 more. And then we're going to press your arms up here, rolling the shoulders back. We're going to sit back into a child's pose for just a second. You're going to start to tuck your toes underneath, and we're going to press out into a full plank. So we're going to zip up through the core, shoulders are back. We're going to hold this position for a second here, and then we're going to start to bend the knees, pushing the arms here, and then stretch it out. So your knees are going to stay hovered the entire time. We're connecting into the core. Your abdominals are pulling you back. We're stretching out of the arms, and then you're lengthening out in 2 different directions. So I want energy out of the top of your head, energy out of your heels. So we're feeling that inner stretch throughout your legs and your abdominals and your arms and your head. And let's do 3 more. Keep the elbows soft. Keep your breathing going. Let's do 1 more. Woo, all the way out. Let's drop the knees down. Unfold the toes, sit back into a child's pose. And then we're going to make your way onto your hands. So now your hands are directly underneath your shoulders. Knees are underneath your hips. We're going to tuck the toes underneath. Shoulders are back. Make sure your weight is slightly over your arms. We're going to hover the knees up and hold. And drop it down. Think zip up through the core. Soften the knees. Soften the elbows. Squeeze the inner thighs. And let's do 3 more. And 2 more. And if your wrists feel any sort of pain here, or you just don't feel comfortable being on your wrists, you're welcome to go down onto your forearms. And 1 more. And then let's drop your feet flat. We're going to start to extend your left arm out to the side, and then drop it down to the center. So let's take your right arm out. We're going to feel how your oblique connects to this movement. Stretching it out. Trying to keep your shoulders square to the floor, hips square to the floor, inner thighs connected. Stretch it out. Feeling how your arm is very much connected to the core. And let's do 1 more here. And then we're going to round up into a cat and cow stretch. Let's inhale, round all the way up. Exhale, pulling your shoulders back. Open up the chest. And let's round up 1 more time. And then let's make your way into a neutral pelvis here. We're going to start to take your left hand back behind you and drop it down. Let's take your right hand back. I want you to feel as if your arm is trying to reach as far away from your ear as possible, intentionally pressing up to the ceiling, feeling like you're in that dense body of water. So the movements are slow and controlled, but very, very intense. Definitely gets your heart rate up, gets you sweating here. Keep breathing. We want to connect the mental and physical state here as well. And now we're going to take your left hand out. I want you to rotate up and then drop it down. We're going to feel how your core rotates you side to side. So yes, it's about the arm reaching up to the ceiling. It's mostly about the core rotating you here. So we want to add that nice twisting element of the spine here to create some nice mobility, protecting your back for the future. creating nice core strength. And then let's sit back into a child's pose, stretch out through here. We're going to slowly roll the spine all the way up, making your way onto your knees. Let's let your head be the last piece here. You can roll your shoulders back. And then we're going to take your feet to the front of the mat. So the ball is now going to be squeezed between your knees and your heels are together. So we're going to find this connection here. One thing to note also is that when you squeeze the ball, you don't want to squeeze the knees. It's just a light squeeze coming from your inner thighs and pelvic floor. So let's stretch your arms out in front of you. Lift up in the chest. We're going to take a deep inhale as we scoop and roll back about halfway. We're creating some flexion in the body here, allowing your chin to pull into your chest. We're going to roll up, start to take your hands up to the ceiling. Let's open them out to the side and then press them through the center as we scoop and roll back. So rolling back through here. If you can notice, my heels are together. I'm squeezing my heels to create that inner thigh connection, trying to treat your legs kind of as one piece here. And then pressing your arms together, let's scoop and roll back. Creating more and more flexibility in the spine because we have a whole bunch more to do. Round through here. And then we're going to roll back about halfway. So I want you to scoop from the pelvis here, but we're going to keep your chest slightly open. We're going to take your left hand out to the side. I want you to rotate to the side. Use your abdominals to pull back to center. Let's go over to the opposite side. So we're going to find the rotation coming from the belly button up. We're reaching your front arm in front of you, creating more of an internal rotation, not just a rotation happening because your arm is rotating. It's coming from the core. And let's stretch it out. And open here. And let's do one more on each side. Hope you're feeling really nice and warm here. I'm feeling very warm. Let's scoop and roll down about halfway, zipping up through the core, rolling it up. Let's lift your arms up and circle them all the way around. We're going to stretch your arms in front of you, and then we're going to go down onto your elbows. So let's take your fingertips facing inwards. We're going to walk your feet into tabletop, but with your heels slightly above your knees. So it's a little bit more of a diamond shape here. I want you to lift up out of the shoulders, lift up out of the waist. Try to create this neutral pelvis here. Tiny dips of your legs and lift. Very tiny here. It's very intense when you try to keep that neutral pelvis. We're feeling how your low abdominals draw the knees in. Let's drop. And keep breathing through this. Keep reminding yourself that you're light on your arms so your chest stays nice and lifted. And one more. And we're going to rock your legs side to side. So we're going to roll onto the right hip. Let's roll over onto the left hip. So we're keeping your chest facing forward. Try to relax the jaw, relax your neck. So we're rocking side to side here. Feeling how your core is rocking you side to side, creating a nice twisting motion. It also gives you a nice little piriformis massage on your glutes, if you can feel that too. And then up and over. One more over to the left. Back to center here. We're going to drop your feet down. We're going to keep your feet parallel, hip width apart. We're going to start to press up through your arms and then walk your hands just slightly back behind you. So we're going to find this position here, squeezing the ball. Bend the elbows slightly. Push up out of your arms. So just a slight bend and lift. Tiny bend here and lift. And let's do two more. And one more. And then we're going to stretch your arms all the way out in front of you. We're going to slowly make our way all the way down to the floor, peeling through the spine. Let's take your hands all the way up over your head. So stretch it through your fingertips here. Feel that nice thoracic stretch. Circle the arms around. We're going to slowly start to lift up. I'm going to scoot forward. Let's do one more here. Scoop and roll all the way down. Let's take your hands all the way up over your head. Circling it around, pulling the chin in. And let's lift. And now we're going to take the ball behind your shoulder blades. So we're going to find this position right here. It's really nice. It creates kind of a nice stretch in your upper body after some of that movement. We're going to lay all the way flat on top of the ball. Widen your feet through here, and then we're gonna take your hands behind your head, and we're gonna curl up. So I want you to clasp your hands, press your head into your arms so that your shoulders stay down and you're mostly lifting up through the core, trying not to pull onto the neck. So we're gonna open up the chest very slightly, do a tiny curl. Let's open it up. So as we curl up, we're trying not to tuck the body. We're trying to keep your spine nice and long, grounding the tailbone down so we really get into the low abdominals. So that's the main focus of every exercise here, is really tapping into that low abdominal work. Trying to soften the glutes, soften the quads, ground the tailbone down, and really feel that inner thigh, pelvic floor connection. And let's do one more. Let's lift up here and hold. We're gonna add a little twist to the right, come back through the center, and then twist over to the left. So I'm not lowering my body down, I'm still keeping my body hovered here. Trying to stabilize in the hips, that's the hardest part. Up and over. And twist. And let's do one more on each side. And rotate, come back to center. Let's open up the chest. Do another tiny curl up through the center. And let's do 3 more here. And 2 more. And 1 more. We're going to curl up and hold. Start to reach your hands out in front of you. We're going to take your arms up and over your head. I want you to stretch up over the ball. Feel this nice stretch. Circle the arms around, pulling the chin in, and then we're curling up through here. You can get a little bit more of a lift. Stretching your arms up. Let's circle it around. Pulling the chin in and lift. Let's do 1 more. Circle it around. And lift, and then let's reverse. So we're going to open up the arms, stretching the arms up over your head, pulling the chin in. Let's curl up. Trying to maintain that neutral pelvis. And 1 more. And then we can slowly lay all the way down. Let's drape your body over through here. You can stretch your legs out, reach out through the fingertips, out through the toes. And then we're going to roll off onto the side and grab onto the ball, and we're going to go over onto your left hip. So we're going to find a position here where your knees are going to be in line with your hips and your shoulders, and the ball is in front of you to stabilize you here. Ease up a little pressure on this bottom elbow. We're going to put some pressure into the ball. Lift up through the core. I want you to stretch out through this top leg. We're going to start to do some circles. I want you to circle around here. So trying to find stability in the core, stability in the neutral spine here, creating this nice circle. And if your neck starts to fatigue you at all, you can look down to the floor. You're feeling how your core supports your shoulder by lifting up off the ground. Let's do the reverse. Tiny circles here. So keeping it controlled. You don't need to speed this up at all. We want to really find that deep inner strength. You'll feel your heart rate elevate. You'll feel the sweat start to drip. And let's do 1 more. And we're going to hold your leg here. I want you to grab onto the ball. We're going to stretch the ball up and over your head. I want you to bend the knee in, bend the elbow, push it out. So we're elongating out through the spine, stretch it out through here. And stretch it out. Feeling how your core stretches out through your leg, out through the top of your head, out through your arm. And we're going to add a rotation in the upper body now. So now we're going to rotate to the floor. I want you to push it down to the floor with the ball. Bending here, stretching it out. So we're finding length, pushing the arm down to the floor. 1 more. And then let's bend the knees down. We can fold this leg in front of you here. Give yourself a little lift and a little twist. Catch your breath here, and we're going to go right over to the other side. So let's go over onto your right hip. Right hip, right elbow. Trying to find one straight line first, so your knees are in line with your hips here. Putting some weight onto the ball, lifting up out of your shoulder here, finding this length out of the left leg. Lifting up through the core, tiny circles. Also relaxing that bottom foot. Inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your mouth. The second side is always hard because that bottom half of your body is doing so much work to support you here. And let's reverse. We have 5 in the reverse. And 2, 3, try to stabilize that top hip. And 5, and we're gonna hold here, start to stretch out through this arm, bend the knee in, pushing it out. Finding length out of the spine, pushing it out. So really creating this resistance as we stretch it out. 2 more. And 1 more. And now we're adding that rotation down to the floor. Bend. Bend here. Let's do 2 more. It's getting hard. And then drop the hip down, taking this leg in front, giving yourself a nice little lift and twist, rotating over to the side. And then we're gonna flip over onto your knees. So we're gonna take the ball behind your left knee. Let's give it a squeeze here. We're gonna go down onto your forearms into a goal post position. Your knees are underneath your hips. And then we're gonna start to hover your left leg up. So from here, I want you to flex the foot, give the ball a little squeeze, shift your weight slightly forward and do tiny pulses up. So we're gonna try to keep that hip in parallel. Try to stretch out through that left oblique. Very tiny here. And let's do 3 more, 2 more, and then 1 more. Soften the foot, so it's not a point and it's not a flex. Drop the knee down and lift and down. So trying not to lift your knee up too high. We're trying to create stretch in the front of your body while connecting into the hamstrings and glutes here. It's a lot of core as well. And let's do 2 more. And 1 more. And then we're going to drop the knee down. I want you to tuck the toe underneath and we're going to start to stretch out through your right leg. Just tap that toe down and lift. And lift through here. So still keeping your shoulders back. Still finding length out of the top of your head. And we're going to hold this leg up. I want you to bend the knee, push out through the heel. Very tiny bends here. Bend. Keeping the core engaged. Hamstring, glute, it's that smile area underneath your glute. 3 more. And a lot of right oblique. 2 more. And 1 more. Dropping that knee down. We're going to grab onto the ball, take the ball in between your inner thighs. Going back down onto your forearms here, I want you to push up with the arms, round through the spine, stretching through the upper body, and drop the elbows down. And let's do 1 more. Round it up, really pushing through those arms, and drop it down. And now we're going to take the ball behind your right knee. So we're going to do that whole thing over on the right side, making sure you have a really good grip there. Back down onto your forearms, and let's flex this foot first. Try to square off your hips, square off your shoulders. Tiny pulses. Very tiny pulses here, and shoulders are back. Try to soften that left foot that's down onto the floor. And then we're going to soften the foot, so dead foot here, but a squeeze of the ball. Drop the knee down and lift. So we're almost done with this full series. Try to connect the full body here. You can wiggle your head around, try to make sure that you're not gripping too much in the jaw or the neck. And let's do 3 more. 2 more here. And 1 more. And then you're going to drop the knee down, tuck that toe underneath on the right side, and then start to stretch out through that left leg. Keeping the hips in parallel here. Tapping the toe down and lift. And lift. All the way here. Keep the abdominals in, keep pulling the shoulders back. 2 more. And 1 more. And then we're going to flex the foot. We're going to bend it in halfway, push out through the heel. Feel your left oblique connecting with this move. Feeling that smile area underneath your glute. And let's do 3. And 2. And 1. And then drop it down. We're going to take the ball out from behind that right knee. Take it in between your ankles. And we're going to take your knees nice and wide. So the ball's almost between my heels and my ankles, just enough so you can squeeze through the inner thighs and pelvic floor. Stretching out through your arms here, we're going to slowly start to roll through the spine. Let's lift up in the chest, so we're lifting up out of the shoulders, pulling your hips forward, but really lifting up out of the core. Stretch it back. Try to roll through the spine, so we're articulating through every vertebrae here, still connecting the inner thighs. Open up the chest. And down. And let's do one more. And let's lift. Sitting back into a child's pose, and let's slowly start to roll up onto our knees. Your hands are pulling in towards your body, and your head's the last piece. And then we're going to flip yourself onto your back. The ball is going to stay between your ankles. We're going to take your knees wide, make your way down to the floor. We're going to take your hands out into a V shape here. So we're pressing your arms down, giving the ball a little squeeze. We're going to slowly start to articulate the spine up. Taking your hips up nice and high, holding this position for a second so you can elongate out through your neck, keeping the abdominals in, and then scoop and roll down. So I want you to roll through every little vertebrae here, dropping the tailbone down. Let's lift it up. Leading with the core, pressing your shoulders down, scoop and roll it down. And let's do one more here. We're going to hold your hips up high, pressing your arms down to the floor. I want you to do tiny squeezes of the knees and open. So by squeezing the inner thighs, you're going to feel the ball squeezing as well. And tiny squeeze. Keeping the core engaged. Let's do 3, and 2, and 1. And keeping your knees open, let's scoop and roll all the way down, peeling through the spine. Let's scoot a little bit further forward here. And then let's lift it all the way up, keeping your hips up high here. We're going to hover your arms up, and I want you to turn your palms facing up to the floor, up to the ceiling, sorry. And we're going to squeeze your pinkies underneath you here. We're going to drop the hips down as we circle the arms around, stretching out through the fingertips. Let's lift your hips up. So we're doing snow angels with your arms. Hips are up, open up in your chest. And lift. And let's do 2 more of these. And 1 more. And then we're going to stretch your arms all the way up over your head. I want you to reach your shoulders up to your ears. Feel like someone is pulling your fingertips all the way over your head. And then you're going to scoop and roll down 1 vertebrae at a time, peeling through the spine. You're going to circle your arms around, pull your knees into your chest. Let's rock side to side. And then we're going to take the ball underneath your hips here, lifting your hips up. I want you to drop your arms down. We're going to take your knees into tabletop. So we're going to be balancing on the ball. Try to find a neutral pelvis, feeling the low abdominals here. We're going to stretch your left hand up over your head as you reach your right arm out and bend it in. We're going to do that same arm. Stretch it out, bend it in. Feel like your arm is reaching out over your head as your leg extends, trying to find your balance here. And 1 more. Let's switch arms and legs. Other side. Trying to create stability on the ball by grounding the tailbone, really using your low abdominals. And 2 more here. And 1 more. And let's stretch your right leg all the way down. Let's take your left knee into your chest. Get a nice hip flexor stretch here. And we're going to switch legs. Stretch it all the way out. And we're going to drop your feet down. Let's lift your hips up, slowly roll through the spine. And we're going to make our way to standing. Let's take the ball off to the side again. So we're going to find this really nice wide stance again. We're going to start to play around to the side. We're going to start to press it out here. Rocking side to side. I'm kind of lifting up my heel here, but you can drop the heels down if you want. Stretch it out to the side, lifting up a little bit higher, feeling how much more mobile your spine is, how much stronger your body feels, how much clearer your mind is as well. Let's do one more. Back to center, round through the spine. Let's lift it up, round through the spine, and lift two more. And one more. And walking your feet in underneath your hips here. Stretching your arms up, but slowly roll through the spine. Soften the knees here, grab onto your elbows. Nod your head yes. Shake your head no. Release the arms down to the floor, keeping the knees soft, and then we're going to slowly start to roll up. One vertebrae at a time. Let your head be the last piece. And we can roll your shoulders back. And you're all done. That was a 30-minute Be the Method session. I'm so thankful to be here and to share this movement with you. I'm Lia Bartha. Thank you so much for joining in.